The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Monday, the 24th day of July, 2023. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, and Linda's. I'm Jamal Hartman, and Maya Palacio will be with us a bit to bring you the latest in her news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Folks, I got to tell you. Hold on 2 seconds. Let me just fix something real quick. So I want to make sure you hear me when I say this. So I got to tell you, First off, how was your weekend? Good morning to you, Auntie Karen. How was your weekend? Because I'm going to tell you, I had a blast. On Friday, I was supposed to take a flight, 8-something, up to New Jersey to go to this football game between Manchester United and Arsenal, right? And my flight was delayed to 1 a.m. So from 8-something to 1 a.m. So I didn't get there till like after 4 a.m., right, on Saturday. And I was in between minds, man, maybe this trip's just not meant to be. Let me just go sleep. I have so much to do in preparation for Cup Match Selection Night, which do not go anywhere. And share this link with your friends and family because we have a major announcement regarding the Cup Match Selection Night on this show very soon. So don't go anywhere. But anyway, my flight actually, you know me and airlines and flights as of late, we've just had a very interesting relationship in terms of getting places on time, leaving on time and getting places on time. So I finally landed at 4 a.m. and I'm like, man, I'm tired. Am I really going to make this game? But folks, if you're on my social media, that little Instagram thing, man, you know I was singing my heart out. I was back for Manchester United for that one day and one day only. One day only. And I had a blast watching Manchester United beat up on that little Arsenal. You know, they spent all this money and they thought that they were going to do a thing. So my sister Sencha, and I do, sending out my, regards to Sister Sencha and my nephew Maddox. They weren't feeling too good after the game. Maddox wasn't too happy. His team couldn't even score a goal. And so I just want to send regards because there were a lot of Bermudians. I want to say this. So my cousin and I, we were sitting behind the goal. And we had, I don't want to call them names because I don't know if people were with significant others, side pieces, whatnot. I'm minding my business. I don't want to get into all that. But I know how Bermudians roll. So I'm not going to call names of who I bumped into. I don't know if people got permission to go or fake the job or whatnot. But it was lovely to see so many Bermudians at the game this weekend. But in addition to that, we so many people you don't know. So a lady sitting right in front of us with her son. So you know me, I'm a big mouth at the games, shouting, and she's shouting back. So I said, "Oh, you Bermudian?" She said, "Yes." And introduced ourselves and whatnot. But we rolled deep, man. We rolled deep. Bermudians showed up. I'm guessing there were between 1,000 2,000 Bermudians that based on social media and just the people that we bumped into. But we rolled deep, had a great time. And folks, it was an experience. And I really, really, I don't even care if Manchester United would have lost. It was just an awesome time. I think it was 82,000 people there, 82,000 in MetLife Stadium. Now, obviously, that would have fit the entire population of Bermuda plus another 20-something thousand. But that just gives you context and idea of how much of an big event it was. So If you did see me and I didn't speak to you, I'm going to say it as I say when I'm in Bermuda, right? I will say the same thing as like when I'm in Bermuda. My bad. My eyes are getting older. I'm sorry. It wasn't intentional. All right. All right. But that's my weekend. Anyway, greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today. We're going to do this again. We're welcoming our friend Lisa Reed from the Human Rights Commission on, and we're going to be discussing the annual report. All right. So I love these conversations. You all know these conversations I'm very passionate about. And I hope you ask a lot of questions because I think we have an idea, but just because we have an idea doesn't mean we actually know what human rights are, what findings, what did they find in the report? How does it impact us? How do you know if you've been, discriminated against, right? So looking forward to having Lisa on. And also, if you haven't already, I haven't gotten any updates from the team, but guessing there may be a couple spots left. We did add another restaurant to the restaurant crawl as of late last week. So it's looking good. And also, like I said, we'll be announcing something regarding the COPNET selection night. So again, share it, retweet it, whatever right now. You don't want to miss this. But also you can still follow Media Maya and BCG Television on social media to stay up to date regarding our live COPNET selection coverage, which will be taking place this Saturday, July 29th. We'll give you all the details you need to know by the end of this episode. All right. Also, don't forget to subscribe on thedailyhour.com and follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Just help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Now that that's out of the way, and good morning to you, Jamaica Smith. Happy Monday. Good morning to you, Monica Dunstan. She had a perfect weekend too. Well, I can't forget Bayless Bay. I mean, they're still the champs, right? They didn't have to win. I mean, St. David's, you just about made 100 runs. But I'm not going to. I'm going to say the weather played a role because if I'm St. David's, I'm going out there trying to fire you. Change your betting lineup to try to go make some runs, see if you can get a result. Didn't work out for you, but Bay keeps the cup until the second round. Now, that said, St. George's, the only thing saving Somerset from what you're about to do to them this year, St. George's, is Mother Nature. That's it. But anyway, we're not going to go there. We'll talk about that later. Let's have a conversation because on Friday, not sure how many of you tune into the House of Assembly or have been keeping up with the what's going on as far as politics in the Royal Gazette. But it's not even just politics. It's just what's happening overall. But just want to give an update. The headline in the Royal Gazette says half of roads in poor condition, but repair bill is $100 million. All right. So when we've had conversations on this show due to many of the reports that Maya Palacio has given during her news break about, what do we think is the cause of, road traffic collisions in Bermuda? And there are always people who say, accountability, obviously, speed, driving under the influence, but poor road conditions often come up. And so, according to the Royal Gazette, Colonel Lieutenant David Birch, who's the Minister of Public Works, says if the government were to undertake an immediate initiative to fully repave the public and private roads that are in poor condition, approximately 226 kilometers, or half of our roadways, it will cost approximately $100 million over a 10-year period, which equates to $10 million per year. Now, Maya's going to give you more details in her Daily Hour news break about that, right? In terms of the breakdown of the cost. But the question of the morning, and we try to be solutions based on this show. We can sit here and say, well, we're in this position because the government hasn't properly budgeted and spent money over the years. So now we need this big lump sum, right? That's neither here nor there at this point. What we need to figure out is our roads are very poor. I mean, I had the privilege of riding on those roads 2 weeks ago, and likely will be doing again over the next 2 weeks. They're bad. They're poor. What's your solution to improving Bermuda's poor road conditions, knowing the cost that it's likely to amount to based on what Lieutenant Colonel David Birch said? What's your solution, audience? What do you believe is the best way to do it? Now, I know some people say, well, Let's go to the private sector. And I think that's interesting because I'm just trying to, I don't know if that works anywhere in the world where the private sector will pay public roads, but something tells me it actually isn't a bad idea simply because if you're making a lot of money in Bermuda and you love being situated and located in Bermuda, then you want to ensure that when you have other business people and colleagues and clients visiting Bermuda, that they are actually on paved roads, right? You want to make sure that they are experiencing the high end or opportunities in life that they believe that you are living. So I would think that, it may be a long shot, something that's not norm, but I actually don't mind looking into that idea more, if that makes sense. Well, what are your thoughts, audience? What's your solution to improving Bermuda's poor road conditions? The other aspect is community, right? There are a lot of private roads in Bermuda where, maybe in the private roads, communities can do what they can to raise money. And, for the sake of the children and I guess public and access, they say, you know what, we're not waiting on the government. We're going to do our road ourselves. I don't know what has to happen through planning, but maybe that's an option. But what are your thoughts? Again, Lieutenant Colonel David Birch, who is the Minister of Public Works, has basically said that, Bermuda's road conditions are poor, right? But he says, quote, if the government were to undertake an immediate initiative to fully repave the roads, both public and private, that are in poor condition, and that's approximately, according to Colonel David Birch, 226 kilometers, or half of our roadways. It would cost approximately $100 million over a 10-year period. And that works out to be $10 million a year that apparently the government just doesn't have, I guess. I mean, again, we can sit back and say, oh, well, how did we get in this position? How did the government allow this to happen? We're here. We're here. Now we need to figure out, how do we get from here? All right, what's your solution to improving Bermuda's poor road conditions? Sean DeShield says, one problem is a lack of preventative maintenance. I agree, Sean. I agree, but we're here. He says, why wait for roads to get in such terrible condition in the first place? I don't disagree with you. That's the easy part, Sean. We know we're here. We know how we got here. We can slam this government. We look, at the end of the day, yeah, we know why we're here. It's like a sitting hotel, right? It closes down, and the longer it stays closed and inoperable, then chances are the conditions of that hotel are going to become worse, which means it's going to cost more to repair, renovate, and get back to full use. Understand that. Don't disagree with that. But what we need to know, what are the solutions? What are the solutions? Are there any solutions? I mean, let's do a yes or no question. Do you think that the private sector should foot the bill for Bermuda's road conditions? Yes or no? Do you believe the private sector should foot the bill for Bermuda's poor road conditions? Yes or no? Should the private sector foot the bill for Bermuda's poor road conditions? Let's answer that question, and then we'll get back to what your solution to improving Bermuda's poor road conditions is. Chica Trot, she says no. The private sector should not foot the bill. She says no. What are your thoughts? Yes or no? Do you think the private sector should foot the bill for Bermuda's poor road conditions? Sean DeShield says no, as everyone uses the road. Sam Cat Place says it's not the private sector's responsibility. Kathy Rogers says no. All right. So no one said yes. Pretty much everyone says no. So what's your solution to improving Bermuda's poor road conditions? Sam Cat Place says, okay, it's going to cost that much, but I bet they'd find $100 million at the cost to us taxpayers very easily if it's an initiative we don't want. Boris less, build it year by year. Well, I was in Target yesterday, and it was a father and a college-age daughter, and they were looking for some things for, I guess, her apartment, right, Sam? And the father didn't yell, but in a forceful voice, he said, honey, Rome wasn't built in a day, right? But dad, he says, do you know what that means? And I was being, in terms of Bermuda, pokey, right? Yeah, they say nosy in the US, but I was being pokey. I was eavesdropping. And he said, do you know what that means? It means you don't have to do everything at once. Let's get what we need now. And as time goes on, we will fill up. Okay, dad, but mom, sweetheart. And I left the conversation, but I didn't leave it. I was never in it, but I stopped. I moved on at that point. But the point is, I think that that's one of the biggest problems that I think the majority of Bermudians have had with multiple PLP administrations is building everything at once and instead of over a period of time. So I definitely see your point, Sam Caplace. Again, what's your solution to Bermuda's poor road conditions? Colonel David Birch has been attributed to saying it's going to cost $100 million, at least $10 million over the next 10 years to repair Bermuda's poor roads. Rosalind Famous says, I could be wrong, but I believe there's already a process in place for neighbors to collaborate with government to pave private roads. I believe there is. Having lived on a private road, I think you're correct, Rosalind. I just don't know what it is. Hadley and Stevenson Swan says, Bruce Swan stated, due to Minister Birch mentioning the salaries being a part of the cost, we can hire people from Latin America or the Caribbean for 6 months at a time and do 24-hour road work. Well, you know, Sister Headleen and Brother Bruce, just on Friday, I gave a solution in reference to people who want cot match to be televised, saying, okay, well, the cost is going to be labor. That's one of the biggest costs. Why not bring people in from overseas, mainly people in the Caribbean who know how to do it? Well, you know how Bermudians, you know, we are, I'm including myself, even though I've never been that person, but we are Bermudian. We tend to have issues when we see other people come into Bermuda to do work at lower cost because, you know, at the end of the day, we have to live here and we need to make a living. So a lot of that kicks in place. I take your point. We have to make a decision. Do we want paved roads? Do we want to improve our road conditions? Or do we only want that if Bermudians are the ones who are doing it? We come with the cost. Titan Express says, when utilities dig up the roads, they should be made responsible for paving the entire width and length of the road that they dig up. I think they're talking to you, Belco and Digicel and One Communications, but that's something that should be considered, though. Yeah, that's an interesting comment. Traveling Charlie says, I would like to see a maintenance schedule should be published so we, the public, know and understand the expectations. Sean DeShield says, getting started with fixing the road now would help instead of just talking about how expensive it will be. I see Sean's point. Let's just start somewhere. But then the other challenge is Bermudians, we have a tendency to want to know where our money is going and how it's being spent, right? So I see your point, but yeah, I get you. I get you. Folks, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? This is an interesting conversation. What's your solutions to improving Bermuda's poor road conditions? Charles H. Jefferson II says, what I don't understand is why there seems to be a lack of coordination between utility companies when it comes to digging up the roads. The same roads are being dug up over and over and left poorly. So I think that goes back to the comment by Titan Express where they were stating it should be up to them to pave the roads back. And that's a private company digging up our roads. So I don't disagree. I don't know if there's an agreement between the government and these private entities, but I think this is a solution. And look, folks, if anyone from the Bermuda Progressive Labor Party is tuned in, please take some of these comments into consideration. These are your voters. I may not be, but they are, right? Take their comments into consideration. Take their concerns into consideration. They could help you more than you think. These are not complaints. These are solutions. These are people saying, what's up when these companies are digging up the roads? Why should it be on the taxpayer to fix them when they're the ones that are leaving them in such disrepair, right? So, no, I think that's a great solution, Charles, and I think it was Titan Express. Renee Simmons says, it wouldn't have cost that much if they didn't keep using Band-Aids. Fix the roads as each section is completed and move on. Well, I agree, Renee. Just putting these asphalt in a hole and then another downpour comes and now it's picked right back up. So yeah, you don't put band-aids on broken bones. That's not how they heal, right? Sid Denis says some of the roads are a mess due to the trenching and other works that require the roads to be dug up. Can government not hold these companies to a standard after they dig up the public roads? So again, I think we're heading to a space where government, listen, this is accurate. Like, why should it be on the taxpayers if these private companies are digging up the roads for better service or whatnot, but they should have to actually be responsible for repaving the road, not filling in like, uneven trenches, but repaving the entire space that they use. So I don't disagree. I like it. Yeah. And Kathy also likes it. She says, I agree with Titan. Great point. Yeah, these companies should be held responsible. It shouldn't be on the taxpayer. Now, these companies, the utility company may say, well, what we're doing is a benefit to the taxpayer. We're trying to improve their electricity. Nope. I'm not having it, and neither are they. Sean DeShield says, why not create a public-private partnership that sets a realistic deadline for completing the much-needed road repairs? And Nicole Walker says, agree with Titan and Bruce's comments. Utility companies are a huge factor in current road conditions, and we need it fixed now, so overseas workers should be more than welcome. First priority is our safety. I'm loving this conversation. And again, I just hope, folks, that what's being discussed and shared can help drive us forward. We all can sit here and admit these road conditions in Bermuda are poor. And I don't think the poor road conditions are an excuse, or they shouldn't be an excuse for our poor driving habits. If anything, they should help us to improve our poor driving habits. But something has to be done. Because someone made a great point, and I don't know where I saw it on social media this past weekend. But before we bring Maya in for the news break, I want to leave you with this. If people's vehicles that are impacted by Bermuda's poor road conditions have to be inspected on an annual basis, then our roads should face the same thing. And if the roads fail, we need to figure out what happens. Let's bring Maya in for the Daily Hour news break. Don't forget, we have a huge cup match selection night announcement coming up right now. And after the news break, we have Lisa Reed from the Human Rights Commission. Please don't miss this conversation. Please tune into this conversation. And we'll do a giveaway at the end because, of course, as you can see, everyone ditched me again today, except Maya, right? Except Maya. And so whoever gets today's question correct will get a Daily Hour gift bag. And folks, I have a lot of TDH stuff over there to bring back. So you're going to get some really good gifts. So stay tuned to see if you're going to be the winner today.
Good morning. Good morning.
Greetings, madam. How are you?
I'm feeling good. You know, I love road safety conversations and just like seeing what people's ideas and thoughts are to help improve our roads. So I like these conversations.
No, indeed. And I think, again, you've done such a consistently great job of not making excuses for our poor behavior, but really just bringing to light what's been taking place. And as I stated just now, the poor road conditions are no excuse for our poor behavior on the roads. But I think what it does is help us understand that one thing can lead to another. Two poor things together is not going to make a positive or good situation. So, yeah, I just want to say something, Maya, real quickly. You have St. George's Blue on today.
I knew you were going to say it, and I was like, please don't let him say it, because I don't.
They would say to me if I had something in my, oh, Jamal, you got red in. But audience, doesn't she look good in St. George's Blue? Let's give it up for Maya Palacio. Oop, that's the laughing emoji, sorry. Yeah. Okay. But hey, do you want to do like a cup match selection night promo announcement, or you want to do that after the news break? But what you want to do?
I want to do it now.
Yeah, she's excited. I'm excited too. All right, folks, you ready? Hold on. I don't know if the audience ready. Audience, let us know. Are you going to tune in? Are you ready for like some Cup Match selection night promo? Like, are you going to be tuned in to find out who St. George's are going to be picking to beat Somerset next week? Okay, they're ready.
Run the promo.
Okay, the boss said run the promo. Here we go.
Who has the most wickets in Cup Match history? Oh, that would be that by Bartholomew Jones. Wrong. Bimba Jenkins.
Bye, what are you doing now?
I'm refreshing my Cup Match knowledge for the trivia night.
Trivia?
Yeah, on Saturday, July 29th, the 2023 Cup Match selection coverage will be live streamed on bcgtv.com at 7 p.m. Take part in the night of trivia, learn how much tickets for the game are, and find out who's making the cut. Presented by Bermuda Communications Group Limited and Media Maya, and brought to you by HSBC. Who's taking home the cup this year?
St. George's!
Come on, shit!
Big up to Shell Bean putting that together. It's going to be a great time Saturday night, folks. You don't want to miss it. Juggling Jason will be leading the crew. Maya's going to be down there in St. George, and then we'll have some of our crew, Sherry, Sancha, Phil up in Somerset. I'll be in studio with Juggling Jason as well as Larry, and we'll have a couple of former Cup Match players in studio giving us some input as well. It's going to be a great time, and I just saw this. Well, I got insight this weekend that it looks like what we spoke about last week regarding Somerset's Cup Match team is not true. Actually, Chris Douglas looks like he'll be available. So St. George's, we can get that one. But hey, go to bcgtv.com right now and check it out. You can go on there right now, bcgtv.com. You will have to put your name and email address in to watch any coverage and to see anything on there. But you will be available to comment like you do. You'll be able to engage with us. We'll be on from 7 p.m. until, because you know St. George is taking a little long, right? Maya's expecting a long night down the east, folks, all right? They love the promo, Maya. Look at him. Maya approves. So I love the promo Charles H. Jefferson II says. Probably shouldn't have ended with that other team. Yeah. He had to put him in, Charles. You know how they like calling his name. But Maya, I'm looking forward to Saturday, honestly, and thank you. I just want to say this. I like putting on the spot, but this is an idea that my partner had for years. But until Maya came along, you have to have confidence in the people you work with. And once I met, she said, "Yeah, and we moved." And so, thank you for believing in and wanting to make this happen for Bermudians and the general public, and co-producing it and making it happen, bringing it to light.
It's been an amazing experience, guys. So make sure you just go to bcgtv.com, subscribe so that you get the notification, everything, and leading up to the day of the 29th. We're going to be there live. It's going to be an amazing experience. I don't think I'm not going to stop smiling till it happens. Because I'm really excited, and to behind the scenes work and getting all this together. I know Jamal and everyone on the show has been talking about how much it takes to even just have a Cup Match live coverage, and why we're not having it. Well, the things we're doing behind the scenes for this selection night, it's a lot. Call each other 24/7. This is not, have you done this? Is this ticked off? It's a lot going on behind the scenes to make sure this is quality, for you guys. The first time putting it out, and we're trying to, dot our I's, cross all our T's, and I'm excited. I'm really excited. I hope everyone just heads to the site, subscribe, and get ready for this amazing night.
Indeed. Woohoo!
All right, well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. This is the Daily Hour News Break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. Standing out the news this morning, I guess we can attribute it to some of the roads as well, unfortunately, but a local male rider as well as a visiting male pedestrian and visiting female pedestrian were injured in a collision around 1:15 a.m. on Saturday, July the 22nd on Front Street in the city of Hamilton near the junction with Burnaby Street. All three were transported to the hospital via ambulance for treatment. At last check, the three injured individuals, all understood to be in their 20s, were receiving medical care at the hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. However, inquiries still are being investigated by Sergeant Dominique Simons. Anyone with more information can call 211. May have witnessed this incident.
I was hoping we didn't have any, but sending healing vibes.
Yeah, definitely. And in other news, just more witnesses appeals regarding the reported collision that happened on Friday, the 14th of July. If you remember, it was a 3-vehicle collision with a motorcycle, a minibus, and a car that happened on North Shore Road, Hamilton Parish, near Panorama Drive. At last check, the motorist's heart, said to be a 62-year-old St. George's man, sustained a serious but non-life-threatening leg injury, while the driver of the car, said to be a 40-year-old St. George's woman, sustained a hand injury. No other injuries were reported. However, all 3 vehicles involved were damaged, but any witnesses are still asked to please contact 211 in that regard. Yeah, we gotta do better, especially when we know this COP Holiday is coming up. We gotta do better.
Yeah, and I don't want to keep repeating the same thing, but I guess it's necessary right now because we've had some of our most serious and deadly accidents during this holiday period. And I just want people, we spoke about the road conditions. We know they're poor. So that just means we should just be just more cautious on the roadways. Let's just be more conscious in the road that way.
Exactly. And it's not in my news break, but it just came to my my memory that TNN Travel Lindsay actually has an article out of his site about the fatal collision that happened last year with Chennai Robertson near this holiday season. I believe it's July 28th was the day or the night of the fatal collision, and her best friend were in. Chennai sadly lost her life, and her best friend has severe injuries still to this day. And in that article, you hear from her best friend about the traumatic night and what it meant for her and what it still means now with no investigation moving forward, as no one has been charged for this fatal death. So good to TNN to read that full story from the opinion of her best friend. Now, in other news, we already mentioned it this morning, but yes, $2,027,000 has been budgeted for the roads to be fixed this year. In addition, last year they have a fiscal carry forward of $900,000, so making it approximately $3 million that we have budgeted for the roads to be fixed this year. However, Minister Burt says that even though several of the worst locations and areas are going to be addressed, the budget is still not enough. Now, I know we talked about it a little bit, but here is some of the numbers that he said in a press statement. So we're going to listen to that in.
Mr. Speaker, to make the ministry's position crystal clear to honourable members and the listening public, there now is an allocated budget of $2,927,000 devoted to new paving works for this fiscal year. However, Mr. Speaker, this is nowhere near close to the substantive investment needed to repave all our roads. For example, if the government were to undertake an immediate initiative to fully repave those public and private roads that are in poor condition, approximately 226 kilometers, or half of our roadways, it would cost approximately $100 million over a 10-year period. Let me repeat, that's $10 million per year for 10 consecutive years, regardless of what the government's economic position or the island's macroeconomic status might be.
Wow. I mean, again, I think the audience, and I just want to go back to a comment we didn't get to, is Charles H. Jefferson II says, I've been home 2+ years and I've seen the same areas dug up at least twice. There's an inconvenience for those traveling, and of course the roads are less likely to be put back together. But also, Anthony Pete said, pray for engineers. Yesterday, a conversation with an artisan who shared roads can be done with cement possible. No, look, both of those, right? The way they're being put back together, but also ideas, maybe try cement versus the, what's it called? Asphalt. I don't know, honestly, and that's why he said for engineers, but if it's going to cost that, there's got to be a better way. Now, we don't want cheap. We just want something that is not, that's going to be feasible. There's got to be a way. There's got to be a way.
Because what we're doing now, obviously, they have to continuously repair. And because of the high amounts of rain we're getting right now, it's also quite like, we need something that's going to be realistically not a band-aid solution, like we always say. So it's difficult, the state that we're in right now when it comes to Bermuda's roads. But they also did mention in his press statement that it's been over 100, as you can imagine, 100 emails sent to the potholes email, and they say that any email sent to them will be those potholes will be fixed. That's what they say in the press statement, and they said that over 100 have been fixed since everyone's been like sending their emails forward. And I just want to give you the name, sorry, of the previous story of Trinai Robinson's best friend is Josiah Richardson Webb. Josiah Richardson Webb. So that story you can find on TNN to see how she's doing in this circumstance. My next story for you guys, the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Darren Simons, on behalf of the men and women of Bermuda Police Service, congratulated and welcomed the 9 new officers in the Bermuda Police Service family. Here's an image for the recruits there. 9 constables consisting of 3 women and 6 men, ranging from the ages of 20 to 45 years old, were in the parade, accompanied by the Bermuda Island Pipe Band under the command of Pipe Sergeant Aidan Stones. They were led by the parade commander and drill instructor, Constable Peter Paul Taylor. The newest members of the Bermuda Police Service are, as you can see the names at the top there, but it's Constable Brianna Bell, James Adams, Quincy Can, Christopher De Silva, Julian Johnson, Rashawn Robinson, Kelsey Stewart, Sandra Stowe, and Kyron Zool.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
I'm going to close off with some sports right now. The Bermuda Under-17 boys basketball team is in Toronto at the moment, starting up their youth development programs and doing some tournaments and some matches against some highly skilled teams out here too in Toronto. So they are there at the moment, and their coach, Tim Bullet Trot, says that this is like the start of something they haven't done since 2019. The Bermuda Basketball Association hasn't really had a chance to develop, so they're really excited to start these stages with the young men to encourage and increase the level of basketball in Bermuda.
Love to see it. And I always say this about football, and it goes for basketball, cricket, volleyball, hockey. We only improve when we play against improved opposition and put ourselves in positions to grow and become better. So I like that. I love that.
And I will say that I'm out here in Toronto for vacation right now, and I got to cover one of their games. So you'll see a story coming from me tomorrow. And I just want to say how happy I felt interviewing the Bermuda players out here, and how happy they actually came across as a young man. Very, very, like you'll see it tomorrow during the video, but very astute and very focused young men. And I was very pleased to be one of the first people to give them those interviews for athletics and sports, and you could feel the happiness that they felt just to be, interviewed. So that was a really good experience. And coming up with the weather, we have sun and cloud and a couple of showers, no surprises there. And we got a high of 86 degrees Fahrenheit.
All righty. Thank you so much for that, Maya. And I've got to look for days of the year for you all because, again, everybody ditched me today. So let me see. It's Monday the 24th. What day of the year? Oh, we're not doing that. I don't drink tequila. It's apparently tequila day.
No, thank you. Find something else.
Yeah, I don't do that, folks. Oh, I should have known. You know what it is?
July 24th.
Tell an old joke day. And I don't have a joke for you all today.
Oh, thank heavens.
My goodness. All right, so folks. Okay, so tell an old joke day. History of it is this day brings on a special opportunity offered only one time a year. Why? To raise the nervous wreck from the quivering depths from awful smelling noseless dog back in the cold and press the button for the chicken. What is this?
What?
Like an endangered species, old jokes must reproduce if they're expected to not to die out entirely, and the old ones are supposed to be the best anyway. Of course, it's entirely possible that there may be a lot of groaning from it. What? This is not. Dad jokes, knock jokes, riddles, and so much more can be enjoyed and appreciated for the time. What's your favorite old joke, Maya? Do you have one?
An old joke?
Like, isn't an old joke called like knock, who's there? Such and such. Like, what's an old joke? Because I mean, I'm funny. I've got my original joke, but I'm not going to do one today. You all didn't pay me for not today.
Because you ain't got no real original jokes up in there. You have to rely on the books. Mm-hmm.
Comedians have script writers, so why can't I rely on a book? Anyway, it's National Joke Day, folks. Let us know what's your favorite joke. Obviously, Sherry's the most boring with her short jokes. I mean, come on now. I mean, my old jokes kill it, right? I kill it with the old jokes, but you can tell me later. Anyway, Maya, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Don't forget to go on bcgtv.com.
She said it. I was going to tell her. I don't have to tell her. See you later, Maya. Talk soon.
Bye.
All right, folks, we've got our guest coming up. Oh boy, and she's starting trouble. She says, knock, knock. Who's there? Somerset. We're going to have some problems today. Stick with us, folks. We'll be back with Lisa Reed for a very good conversation on human rights. You don't want to miss out. And in the meantime, during the commercial break, go to bcgtv.com and sign up.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field. Number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. I'm Jamal Hartman, St. George's fan for 2 days of the year. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, please don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com, and follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Also, again, bcgtv.com is where you'll get to watch this weekend's Cup Match Selection Night. Find out who's making your teams, play some trivia, win some prizes, engage with past players, maybe some current ones as well, but you don't want to miss out. Again, you have to subscribe on bcgtv.com to actually access it. All right, without further ado, let's bring in a Somerset fan. I've got to talk to our producers who arrange guests for the show because there's no reason we should have these people in during this time of year. Welcome, Lisa Reed, folks.
Today.
Oh boy, they're cheering for you, Lisa. They're cheering for you. I mean, you know, we've had some conversations, and good morning to you. First off, let me use my manners. But we've had some conversations with you, and I thought so highly of you until it came to sports. Yes.
Well, I am so pleased to be here today as part of the Human Rights Commission's year-long public awareness campaign.
I like the way you did that. We're talking HR, folks. We'll save the Somerset stuff for a bit later. We're going to be friendly right now, but thank you for doing this. I obviously do love having these conversations. As I've said before, very into and interested in learning as I grow and as we go. But just remind the audience of the Human Rights Commission, like what it is and the role you play and how you go about executing your duties.
So firstly, the Human Rights Commission is Bermuda's national human rights institution. And that basically means that at the national level, it has a legal mandate to protect and promote human rights. And the commission is one of the independent non-ministry offices, and it sits alongside the other independent offices, such as the Information Commissioner's Office and the Office of the Privacy Commissioner for Bermuda. And the commission has a statutory responsibility for administering the Human Rights Act 1981, which was enacted in 1981. And the purpose of that legislation is to provide human rights protection in Bermuda and to extend the constitutional rights and freedoms which are enshrined within the Bermuda Constitution Order 1968. And it was intended to broaden the protections such as freedoms from discrimination and harassment.
Mm. And I think, obviously, going through my own struggles with this is a lot of people don't understand what human rights are like. And this is just coming from just general conversation, be it at work, just sports, whatever I'm discussing. And it creates this debate. And it could be something, what's discrimination or versus legal discrimination versus illegal discrimination. There are such things, and people says no such thing as legal discrimination. But just explain what human rights are, and how would people that are tuning in this show know if their human rights are being adversely impacted?
So let me first say that the legislation provides guidance as to what our rights are. Mm-hmm. But fundamentally, human rights are the basic rights and freedoms that belong to every person simply because we are a human being. Mm-hmm. And they're not granted by any state. And it's important to understand that these are universal rights. They are inherent to us all, regardless of nationality, sex, national or ethnic origin, color, religion, language, or any other status. And they range from the most fundamental, such as the right to life, to those that make life worth living, such as the rights to food, education, work, health, and liberty. And human rights are protected by a set of laws. And these laws tell us how governments must treat people and how organizations must treat each other. And so in Bermuda, the Human Rights Act prohibits discrimination based on grounds such as one's race, disability, sex or sexual orientation, religion, or family status in situations where a person may be employed or seeking employment, renting or looking to rent, or seeking to obtain goods or services. And you also asked, how would listeners know if their rights have been adversely affected? Mm-hmm. Some listeners may think of a time where they themselves experienced discrimination or harassment or witnessed discriminatory behavior against someone they know. And what discrimination ultimately is, it's the unequal or less favorable treatment based on a protected ground or personal characteristic within the act. And harassment is the unwanted conduct related to a protected characteristic where someone's dignity is violated or where they feel intimidated or offended within a hostile environment. And so it's important that everyone understand that employees and people who rent have a right to freedom from harassment in the workplace or within their homes because of race, national origin, sex, sexual orientation, disability, etc.
Indeed. And speaking of that, thank you for that difference. But there are people who, based on what you just said, will say, you know what? I want to file a complaint. What's that process look like to lodge a human rights complaint?
So first of all, if someone feels that they've been unfairly treated based on discriminatory reasons, they should contact the Office of the Commission at 295-5859. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share a couple of examples because examples often trigger within people that aha moment, like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize. So for instance, a mom of 3 is looking to rent an apartment. However, she's denied renting the apartment because the potential landlord advises that he doesn't rent to single parents. This happens every day. Another example is where an employer won't employ a recent graduate based on their age, and they tell the applicant they don't hire people for certain roles under the age of 25. Another example could be where an employee is terminated when their boss learns of the employee's diagnosis with a disability, or an individual with a disability is unable to secure an apartment due to the home not being accessible, or a man is harassed because he speaks with an accent and the harassment continues based on his national origin. And another example is where an individual is denied from renting an apartment due to a criminal conviction. So these are narrow examples with limited information, but they illustrate how discrimination may show up in our lived experiences. And so again, in these sorts of examples, someone should contact the commission to log a complaint or at least ask about what their rights are.
Interesting. We'll get to the audience, folks. I know you sent us some questions. If you have any questions or comments for Ms. Reed, send them through and we'll get to them before the show is over. I promise you that. Just want to switch gears a bit. The Human Rights Commission produces an annual report. Just explain what period this report covers.
So the reporting cycle for the Commission's annual report is set to the calendar year, and the reporting year of the report we're discussing today is 2022. And what's exciting about this document is that it is a public accountability document, and the Commission is required by statute to produce a report of its activities by June 30th of each year. And so I encourage the audience to read the report online or contact the office to request a copy.
All right. And what are some of the highlights? What are some things that stand out that should capture the attention of people from the 2022 report?
So in the report, one of the things that we talk about is our complaints management. In the 2022 report, we reported 108 intakes received. And these included both allegations of contraventions of the Human Rights Act and queries filed by the public. So to make the distinction, a query is classified as either a request for information, questions regarding the act, or a request for information about human rights. And the report features several anonymized examples of queries and complaints received to demonstrate the application of the act and the kinds of assistance that the Office of the Commission provided in 2022. During that period, complaints primarily concerned disability, race, color, place of origin, ethnic or national origins, and sex. And these again are referred to as protected grounds or characteristics. Whereas there are also areas of discrimination within Part 2 of the Act, and the more prominently identified areas concerned employment, sexual harassment, and harassment within the workplace relating to grounds such as disability, sex, or race. And some examples that we lifted from 2022 included racial discrimination within housing, discrimination based on place of origin within employment, disability discrimination within housing and the receipt of goods, facilities, and services, discrimination based on criminal record, and sexual harassment. So some of our other highlights include stakeholder consultations and engagements, also the appointment of the Human Rights Tribunal. So that featured the appointment of a panel of 13 members to the Human Rights Tribunal for the 2022-2025 term by the Selection and Appointment Committee for Bermuda. And this saw the establishment of the independent tribunal, which creates a clear separation between the role and functions of the tribunal and the commission to ensure that Bermuda has an independent human rights tribunal that can efficiently and expertly adjudicate human rights complaints.
I hear, for me, my own experience, it seems like it's so hard to prove some of this stuff. And I'll give you an example. So I was working in an organization, and the organization basically would always say, well, we have 90% Bermudians, right? Mm-hmm. But people felt that the organization discriminated because you may have had 90% Bermudians, but none of the people in decision-making positions were Bermudian. How does one get, is that a case that your office would take on, investigate? Is there something that can be done in an instance like that? Because it seems like there's always loopholes. There's always, regardless of what it is, there's loopholes and ways to get around things. But it's almost like, well, no, we don't discriminate. We have 90% Bermudians. We have, I don't know. It's tough.
So I'll say this. The first thing is people should try as best as possible to document. Document what's going on, document your observations, and then contact the office. One of our roles is to assess whether we can best assist or if we can provide appropriate referrals. So there may be an instance where we will, or I should say, in many instances, we provide referrals, such as referrals to workforce development, the Office of the Ombudsman, the Women's Resource Center, the unions, the Rent Commission, and basically an intake officer works with the public to better understand the complaint or query. And when a complaint goes through the process, oftentimes it can be resolved through our voluntary mediation program. However, if a matter is investigated and if it is referred to a tribunal, then at that point, the tribunal is the final determiner of whether discrimination actually occurred. And the tribunal actually will, in essence, set it right. So there might be compensation for lost wages. There might be a policy. It might be a requirement that a policy be put in place. So it's just important that individuals who feel that they may have been unfairly treated based on discriminatory reasons should contact the office.
All righty. And before you head out, I think this is another interesting one. Can a person's or can a group's human rights be taken away at any point?
So human rights can never be taken away, although they can sometimes be restricted. For example, if a person breaks the law, their liberty may be restricted. However, there are other rights that are still afforded. Basic rights are shared values like dignity, fairness, respect, and equity. And these values are defined and protected by laws. Now, we know that legislation alone cannot create environments free from discrimination. However, the legal protection helps support understanding of how these, how we uphold these rights and advance rights for all and hold those who violate these protections to account.
Gotcha. And let's go to the audience, folks. Again, if you have any questions or comments, please send them through. We've got Rosalind Famous. She's asking, is there a difference between human rights and civil rights, or are they the same thing?
Civil rights are human rights in a nutshell.
Okay. And Traveling Trot is asking, how does the Paris Principles apply to Bermuda?
That's a great question. So the Paris Principles apply in that because Bermuda is a national human rights institution and because our legislation reflects the standards of the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, that is actually embedded within our preamble. It basically sets out that the Human Rights Commission, or one of the tenets of the Paris Principles, is that there be national human rights institutions, and Bermuda's Human Rights Commission is Bermuda's national human rights institution. And so one of the things that we do is or one of our activities is to monitor the government's commitment to human rights and report on it. And within the annual report, you will also see a feature around our submission to Government House and the government of Bermuda on the UN Human Rights Council's 2002 Universal Periodic Review.
All righty. And Rosalind Famous, she's asking, do you have materials in languages other than English to help non-English speakers understand their rights?
That is an awesome question. So one of our activities this year is to revamp our materials that we provide to the public. In the past, we did have materials that were in other languages. However, those materials were outdated because of changes to the legislation and our processes. So that is one of the areas that we are working on right now. However, if someone needed information in another language, we would certainly move, all mountains to make sure that we provide that information in a language that's accessible to anyone who needs it, or any format, I should say, not even just another language, but any format that an individual needed it.
Alrighty. Another great conversation. Just remind people how they can access the annual report should they want to delve deeper.
So to learn more about other highlights from the Human Rights Commission's 2022 annual report, visit our website at humanrights.bm or contact the office to request a copy. And our is 295-5859.
Thank you once again. And we're not going to be friends for another 2 weeks. So I guess you'll be back after that. And the
Most
cup is in
definitely.
St. George's hands.
Oh, Jamal.
You didn't like that
Jamal.
part? No, Lisa, thank you so much. And hope
Thank
you have a
you.
wonderful holiday, and we'll be speaking to you again soon.
Sounds great.
All right, Lisa Reed, folks, if you appreciated the conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share this conversation and information with your friends, your family, your colleagues. I always say, this is the kind of information every last one of us needs to know. It's no sense crying after the fact. Preventive measures. Know your rights. All right. We're going to do a giveaway when we come back. The daily play is on all of you. So if you get it right, you get either some St. George's or some Somerset, whichever your team your is. We just know St. George's people love to win stuff on this show. So stick with us. We'll be back after the break. Little giveaway from the trivia question as we wrap it up.
Ordering from ER Fisheries has just gotten simpler. With just a few clicks of a button, you can place an order for next day delivery or same day pickup. Our ever expanding list of offerings now include grocery pantry items, specialty meats, and bread and dairy items. We know things have been hard, and we're here to make planning for your next meal or party easy. Whether you're a vegetarian or a meat eater, we have what you're looking for. And best of all, it can be delivered to your door in 24 hours or less. Go to www.erfisheries.bm and check out our wide range of seafood, beef, lamb, pork, poultry, fruits, vegetables, and plant-based products, all available at reasonable prices. That's www.erfisheries.bm.
All righty. Thanks again to Lisa Reed from the Human Rights Commission for another excellent conversation, engaging conversation. Folks, if you appreciate it, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure that you share these conversations with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We definitely appreciate your engagement throughout. And thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can have these kind of conversations on a daily basis. It's time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Cop Match Edition is in stores now. For more information, just send an email to it. I believe it's contact@bermudatrivia.com or engage, one or the other. Folks, it's time for more Cop Match trivia. Very easy question for the audience this morning. The winner will get themselves a 2023 edition of a Cop Match towel and some other stuff. Who has scored the most runs for St. George's in Cop Match history? All right. Traveling Trotty does it again. Traveling Trotty does it again. Traveling Trotty said Charlie Marshall, and Charlie Marshall is the correct answer. Yeah. Charlie, let me just give you his actual score. How many runs he's had. My eyes don't fail me now. Do not fail me now. I am not the age of Charles H. Jefferson II or Sherry. Yeah, Charlie Marshall, 1,357. I know someone said Wendell Smith. Wendell had 1,143 runs. So yeah, Charlie Marshall is it. So Charlie Marshall showed up first. Traveling Trotty, are you a St. George's or Somerset fan? Let us know. Let us know. Let us know, and we'll get you your towel. But folks, I just want to wrap it up in saying this. Bermuda, we're in a very bad state financially, and I think the government is honest with you in that respect now as it relates to our roads. our roads are in a very poor conditions. And I used to say all the time when I used to bring visitors to Bermuda, when I was working with Bermuda Tourism, and they would always speak about how pristine, I say this all the time, no trash on the side of the roads paved. And I didn't understand or appreciate it. And you kind of don't until you go to places where we don't have paved roads and you don't have such, pristine and cleanliness. We've kind of lost it. We've lost it. And I'm not here to blame anyone for that, but simply to say, we're in a very dire situation and we need to figure it out. I know we didn't collectively put ourselves there, but collectively it's going to take all of us to pull ourselves out. Our roads are in poor condition, and my hope is that the government listens to you, the people, at least with some of the ideas that you have. Some may not be feasible, others may be. But my hope is that they listen. As far as the Human Rights Commission, I encourage people to read the report, see how it impacts you, see how it can help you. Understand what your rights are. It could really, really go a long way. All right, it's time for the Daily Inspiration brought to you by ER Fisheries and Foods. Let's see what we've got today. Quote, when you undervalue what you do, the world will undervalue who you are. And that has been shared on this show before, but I think that's important. Value what you do and who you are, because if you don't, you shouldn't expect others to. Folks, please don't forget to subscribe on our website, dailyhour.com, and follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, and Lindo's, along with People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. Is out. Peace. Oh, go to bcgtv.com. Sign up. Don't miss this weekend's Cop Match Selection Night coverage.